Hello everybody and welcome back to my castle. I'm Ashes, your local vampire, and this is part 2 of my series where I show you how you also become one. So today I'm gonna show you how you can do a very simple gothic makeup. So first step is moisturizing, and don't forget your sunscreen, and then let's go. Step 2, primer. Which one you use is up to you. I like this one. Step 3, brow gel if you want. Step 4, applying your foundation. I used this one today, but I showed you some other ones in the last video you can also use. But this one doesn't have as much coverage, but very light, and I like it for warmer weather. So if you put the foundation on, we blend it with a sponge or a brush, whatever you want to use. Step 5, concealer. I use this one. Remember, don't put on too much of it because that's gonna make your makeup just look worse. So only a little bit, and then of course we also blend it with a sponge. Next step is contour. We're gonna use a brush like this for the application. Also ignore this, it's broken. Don't know what happened, but also don't use too much of it. Next step, blush if you want. If you don't want, skip it. But also we only need a very little bit of this. So this, what I have here, is already enough. So we also use a brush like this, or the one I showed before, for the contour to blend this in. The next step is highlighter. I'm gonna use this very light one for the makeup today, but this is one you can actually use a bit more of if you want. If you don't want shiny makeup or very shiny makeup, you don't need to use that much. But I personally like using a bit more of it because I like my makeup to be shiny. So now that we are done with the face, we're gonna go to the eyes. So we're gonna use some sort of primer for our eyelids because that's gonna make your eyeshadow last a lot longer. So you can use a special eye primer. Today I'm gonna just use this normal primer because I can't use it on my face because it peels, and that's not really good. Also, you don't need much of it, so very little, otherwise you're gonna have too much product on your hands. So now we're gonna let this dry for a couple of seconds, and then we're gonna start with the eyeshadow. Today I'm gonna use this eyeshadow palette I also showed you in the last video. I'm gonna be using the red of this, the black and the silver one, and probably also the white. I'm gonna show you what this is for. So first we're gonna use the very light red, and we're just gonna put it on like this. So now that we have done this, the next step is gonna be the black. So we put on the black like this. So we can basically create a bit of an eyeliner look without actually using an eyeliner. So for achieving this, we're just gonna go like this and make sure that there's like a line like this. Also really blend it into the red or whatever color you want to use for your makeup. So now it looks like this. So to blend it a bit better, we can use one of the other red shades here. Depending on what you like, you can use a shiny one or a not so shiny one. But it's gonna make it look a bit better and make the transition between the red and the black make look a bit better. So I'm gonna use the not so shiny one today, because I think it fits my overall look better for today. So we're just gonna put it here, exactly where we tried to blend the red and the black. So the next step is gonna be using the silver. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. I personally really like it because it makes the whole makeup look a bit more fancy. So we're gonna use a smaller brush like this and just put a bit of the silver eyeshadow in the corner here. As for almost the last step for our eyes, we're gonna use a more flat brush like this one and use a bit of red or black to put it under the eyes. So I'm gonna use this dark red today. We're just gonna put it like this. Also, if you want, you can just take a bit of black and put it here, so it has more black in it. It also makes the transition between the red and the black here look a bit better and not so harsh. Next step, which is what we're also gonna use the black for, are the brows. So we're just gonna use a flat brush like this and black eyeshadow and put it on the brows. So which shape you want to give your brows, that's up to you. If you want to make it look a bit more fancier like me, or if you want to keep it more basic, but that's up to you. So the next step is what you're gonna use the white for. You can also use a more skin colored eyeshadow, but I personally prefer using the white. And that is, we're gonna take a brush like this and just gonna take a bit of the white and put it between our eyeshadow and our brows. So this way it connects these two a bit better, and also you can kind of fix some mistakes you might have made with your brows or your eyeshadow with this. So you can also use this under the eyes, but I personally would recommend using the skin colored one for this, because it could look a bit weird if you use the white one for it. So I did that too, but the skin colored one is better if you're not using a white foundation, because if you're using a white foundation, yeah, the skin colored one would definitely look bad. So now we're actually almost done with the eyes. We're only missing mascara. So of course, before we put on the mascara, you can also add other things like eyeliner or whatever, but because we're gonna talk about simple makeup here, we don't necessarily need that. So now we're actually almost done. The last thing, or for the actual makeup look that's missing, is lipstick. And I'm gonna use a red one today because, yeah, red makeup. This is the shade I'm gonna use. Before I'm gonna put that on, I'm gonna use a lip liner. You don't need that if you don't want it. It's just a little nice add-on. So you're just gonna put that like this. And it makes your lipstick last a bit longer and probably also looks a bit better, but it's totally optional. But it does make it a lot easier to create like these sharp edges that we really like for Gothic makeup. So it is very useful, because it is also a lot more difficult to create that with only lipstick. So now we add the actual lipstick. So now that we have finished the actual look of the makeup, the last step that is missing is a fixing spray, but you don't really need it if for the beginning. I personally really recommend it, but yeah. The look is finished like this, and this is just an add-on basically. So we're just gonna spray this and let it dry for a bit. So this is the finished look, and as you see, it is perfectly good for Gothic makeup, and very simple to create. You don't need a lot of fancy products for this. You can get most of the things I showed you in the drugstore, except of the eyeshadow palette I showed you, but you can get that for 9 or 10 euros on Amazon or similar ones in the drugstore. So I hope I could help you a bit with this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you again for the next video, which is probably gonna be one where I show you how to do a more fancy Gothic makeup. And yeah, if you have things that you want to know or recommendations that you want from me, just leave me a comment, also for feedback or whatever you want to say. I'd appreciate. And follow me on Instagram, TikTok, or join my Discord server if you haven't already. And see you next time.